To learn about the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. Okay, so I'm back at the well today. Yesterday I showed you that I got the well pump. I assembled it and I tested it, made sure it would run off the generator, and everything went really well. No pun intended. So during that video I made a discovery, and it really scared me. Originally I was going to drill a hole in the well casing here. Now, to explain why I was going to do this, I'm getting a well packer. As a matter of fact, I just called the company that I bought it from, and they're going to send it out in 2 days. So I suspect by this time next week, I will actually be installing the well packer. Now, the well packer has a boot on it. So let's just use this as an example. Let's pretend this right here is the boot or the well packer, okay? So my hand being the well casing, now the well casing's already in the well, it goes down, and so now your pump goes down inside the well casing. Well, my well casing's cracked, right? And so groundwater is coming into the well through these cracks and down into the clean bedrock water. So I have to seal that up. So what you do is you get a well packer. Now let's pretend this right here is the well packer. The well packer is got rubber rings around it. So let's just pretend that's what this is. So the well packer is going to seal up against the well casing. And then you just drive this on down, all the way down to bedrock. And then eventually you'll put your new pump, your smaller pump, in here, and then you'll basically have a new well casing. Well, the well casing that I have used to stick out right here about 2 or 3 inches. Well, I had to concrete the floor of this well house. This is an old well house. I'm going to redo the well house also, because the old concrete floor was all cracked and busted up. So my first attempt to fix my leaking problem was to create a new floor, because something I had read said you got the floor, if it's all busted up, that may be causing groundwater to get in. So I reconcreted. And, well, of course, it didn't go away. So that tells me now my second step is the well casing is cracked. When I look down about 15 feet, I can see a crack. I don't know how many cracks are in the well casing, but I can at least see one at 15 feet, roughly 15. My problem is when I was going to put a screw in the well casing so I can drag this well liner down with a come-along. See, I was going to put a come-along right on the top and pull it down with those screws there. Well, my well casing's covered up with concrete now, so that messed up my whole plan, so I got to come up with something else. Now, a lot of people have all kinds of suggestions on how I should actually go about doing this, and lots of them just cost lots of money. Well, you have to understand, my science teacher for like 4 years was MacGyver, and he doesn't spend money, so no, I'm not going to spend any money. What I'm going to do is I'm going to devise basically a brace so I can hook my come-along down here, put it up at the pipe, and I can just pull, or whatever you want to call it, that pipe right down into the well casing. So what I have, got a stump there, and I have a stump, well, actually several stumps, but this one in particular, I have a stump here. So I'm going to run a board from stump to stump, right across the top of the well casing. So I got 2 2x4s right here. And they got to be 16 feet long, 20 feet long, I don't know. They're huge. And this came with the shipping crates that siding, the metal roofing material came in. I'm not going to get in that story again. Long story, but it was a big mess up. And so I ended up having to buy these. Well, I was going to use these for my post, for my roof of the porch. And I'm still going to use them for that. But I can use these also just temporarily to create a system where I can hook my come-along onto it. So I have all the components I need here, all the tools. I got some bracing here. That was also part of the crate mess up. Sorry about that. I think I had a thumbprint on my lens, but I got it cleaned up now, so the shading should be a little better. Now, the thing is what I am trying to instill in folks is the ability to think outside the box and not spend a lot of money, being free. I keep talking about, let's be free. Well, financial freedom is also a big deal. So the less I have to spend, the better. I had one guy tell me that I needed to buy these things, And when I looked it up on Amazon, it cost $195. But I don't understand why. You know, I got 2 boards. I just had to think creatively, and let's see if this works. I mean, obviously I'm sitting here hyping myself up, but if it doesn't work, then we'll try something else. But I got a jack here. I'm going to use it to see how much pressure I can put up against the board. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do here. Okay, so I tried to make the surface flat and kind of eyeballed it up to the other stump over there. So the 2x4 will screw into this very nicely. Okay, so these screws are not very strong when it comes to shear strength. You know, they'll break pretty easy if they get bound up like that. So that means I got to come in from the top so the screw has more strength. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a board on top of here and screw it into the stump and the board, and that'll hold it down. That gives the screws more strength because it's up and down motion, not side to side motion. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put another board here next to this one, make it basically a 4x4. This is 2x4. So if I put another one, that'd be a 4x4. That'll give it lots of strength. Okay, so here you can see that I put the board on top so I can put the screws down so the screws are doing what they're supposed to be doing and using the thread to keep from pulling up. All right, so I got it. So I used the 2 2x4s, and there was still, I could lift it up and it would, you know, I could feel a little bit of bounciness to it. So I had a 2x6 also, but it wasn't long enough to reach from the stump to stump. So I just sandwiched it with the other boards, and that really firmed it up. I did use a jack there, and I kind of jacked it up to see if there was a lot of strength. I felt like there was. Pretty tight, so I gave up. I didn't want to break the boards, obviously. Now, it's my understanding, you know, there's not a lot of information on these well packers, but it's going to be about 200 pounds of pressure at some points that this thing has to do. So I stood up on it, on the boards, and it did fine. It held me up just fine. So, and I weigh probably 170 if I had to guess. I haven't scaled myself in years, but I don't think I've outgrown my clothes too much. I went ahead and strapped it down to this stump. Oh, before I get too much further, I changed my mind on the stump I wanted to use. I was using this one in the camera. I changed my mind and went ahead and used this one. I didn't think it was necessary to go ahead and refilm the whole thing. But this one seemed a little bit more solid, and it had fresher branches on it. This one had a little bit of rot on it, and it concerned me once I got the screws into it. But this one I could screw into it, and it held pretty good. These branches I was able to screw into also, so I felt a little bit better. I strapped it down underneath the branches also, giving it just every chance it can to have success. So I feel like it's going to work. Now all I got to do now is tie a chain to the 2x4, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do with the come along, so it all makes sense, you in the end. So I tried to demonstrate what I was going to have to do is I got to come along that pipe down into the well casing. There's going to be a lot of pressure against the well packer. So I think this is going to work. So I'm another step ahead, so when I get the well packer, I can just start lowering it down into the well. Of course, the first thing I got to do is I got to remove the well pump. So I hope I can inspire you to think like MacGyver when you're living your dream. Thanks for watching.